YouTube rewinds have been a thing of the past ever since the last one released for 2019, and given the reputation they got basically since the 2018 rewind. Given what's gone on this year, some notable things in particular, in addition to coming across PewDiePie's 2018 rewind again, I'm gonna try my hand at encapsulating a lot of what happened this year on YouTube. I may be a little limited in terms of editing. I mean, my craziest edit is masterminding a number to look like it's being grabbed. But flarp it, I'ma make up for it by possibly biting off more than I can chew with how much I'm covering. To clarify, I'll also be covering some stuff that happened outside of YouTube that was so impactful on culture that it showed a lot of itself through the platform. And good glob, that stuff is meaty. Be sure to stick along to relive, reminisce upon, or be reminded of a lot of wild stuff that's happened. And without further ado, let's look back upon the last year on YouTube. Oh. To get a good picture of the last year's worth of stuff, we'll need to take a quick look back for some specific points that happened at the end of last December, the first of which is the announcement that the Epstein flight list was going public at the turn of the year. In the most sick and twisted way possible, I don't think that this guy needs any introduction. Next, family YouTuber Ruby Frankie pled guilty to felony charges for being a horrible mother. Good glob, what a delightful little theme we have here of people messing with kids. There's so much different stuff to cover, ISTG. Speaking of recurring themes, we have some notable creators announcing stepping back in some shape or form. Stampy ended his famous Lovely World series, 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓮 announced plans for a soft retirement, and 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓮 started off the year by announcing his hard and uncensored retirement. Back to 2024, we see that 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓮 is succeeded in a January 1st retirement by Tom Scott. Tom Scott has been doing videos on just about anything he finds remotely interesting since 2006. Before he literally flew out into the sunset, he said that although this probably isn't forever, it's goodbye for now. 2 days after it was said it would drop, the Epstein flight log is here, and okay, I'm gonna get some flack for this one, but I was not at all surprised when the flight logs listed 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓮 on it, and people I know in real life want to claim that I'm bullshitting about this, but I swear to God that I heard this and subsequently believed. Joining Tom Scott in his step back from the internet is Matt Bat, mainly known for his Five Nights at Freddy's theories on his Game Theory channel. This made all the more fitting for his final appearance as Mr. Theory in March, in which he walks into a room with Scott Cawthon, the man who created FNAF, and closes the door on this chapter of his life, cementing this as a huge moment in internet history. What? So on the 11th of January, it was leaked that 𝓒𝓼, an old school YouTuber known for beatboxing, had shelled out big bucks for a video of Miss Hotel chasing him around and trying to get a piece, and good glob, that shit was everywhere. All over. Had to clean it off my screen. Luckily, he dropped a video and explained that this was part of a different 𝓒𝓼 channel with a more mature target audience that never came to fruition. So this YouTuber proved he wasn't a freak. 5 days after all the 𝓒𝓼 stuff began, another YouTuber came under fire for being more than an accused freak, but someone who would pursue relentlessly, all to get. You've gotta be skibbitying me. He made a skibbity toilet joke. Smithers, send in the babes. An individual by the name of Lady Emily accused classic Let's Player 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓮 of inappropriate harassment and not taking no for an answer, with advances harboring an odd focus on shoes and feet. This triggered both an outpour of support for Emily in addition to a call to arms against Emil. Given the nature of the situation, there was actually a pretty notable divide between those who said that he was horrid and those saying that Emily did not set any boundaries and just let it happen until she got fed up with that, so it was on her. Not long after her messages, 𝓒𝓻 said that he overstepped his boundaries and that he'll be dropping a full response shortly. And just like the quiet response quelled pretty much all the people who were against him back in the day, this achieved a pretty similar result. However, unlike White, the accuser dropped more receipts with some messages clearly detailing 𝓒𝓻 asking for consent. Emil dropped his response on Facebook saying that he was very sorry for what he did, that footwear was simply a hobby that he was passionate about, and that his girlfriend knew about the interactions and was completely fine with it, as there were no sexual tones influencing his decisions. Not too long after this, others started coming forward, including notably big names such as Ant Dude and 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓮, a woman 𝓒𝓻 used to collab with. His support began to waver, and so too did his mental health, with close friend Nintendo Capri Sun saying that Emil had checked into a mental hospital. We'll jump to April 16th, in which Emil fully debunked and addressed everything, and it's at this point that his name has been completely cleared. He provided apologies to everyone involved, even when there was a lot of evidence that 𝓒𝓻 had made the right steps, and dropped bombshells, such as the fact that he had been dating 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓮 for 10 years and had become engaged, but went through a horrible breakup, that he used to be good friends with another accuser and actually had to step away from them for a time because of their behavior, and some other notably heavy topics. At the end of it, Chugga no doubt got a lot more personal and vulnerable than he would have ever wanted to be online, and with his clean name came the statement that he was stepping away from the internet for the time being. He was unsure as to if he'd make a return, but luckily he eased back into things by posting his first video since everything went down on July 26th, over half a year since it all started. I don't know how to transition to my next topic, but Pokemon with guns released and its launch was pretty big. Also, people wanted the fucking shit out of this pop. Already off to a notably lighter start this month, Helldivers 2 released on the 8th and literally everybody was playing it. And although Sony really messed up for a good second later on, it's still doing pretty well for itself. Also around the beginning of the month, a clip of Drake waving around a small tree went viral. I don't know why. Alright, you probably know what I'm talking about. He's absolutely 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓲𝓮𝓼. I can't look into dates or anything on this matter further because the doctor says that the fluid loss from the amount of drool pouring out of my mouth will result. Anyways, next on the list is two big occurrences happening on the 14th of this month. That being the viral clip of a cop getting startled by a literal acorn and the death of the YouTuber 2Mad. 2Mad was pretty well known in the scene, but when it came to his death, there wasn't too much support from content creators. 2Mad died of an overdose, and this habit no doubt contributed to people saying that they never felt close to him and that they never felt like they knew his true self. 2Mad would die, socially isolated, playing Overwatch 2. A rough way to go. To shift things lighter again, it wasn't even that huge, but I did see Farmer's Dilemma repost a bunch and I fought with it, so I just wanted to do a quick nod before we address the next heavy hitter, that being some more YouTubers being creepy. The Wilbur-Soot situation is insane. Chocolate starfish. That's about it. See ya. But for real though, on the 22nd, YouTuber/Twitch streamer Shovel went on stream detailing how an individual, days later clarified as popular Minecraft YouTuber/musician Wilbur-Soot, had been abusive, notably through biting her. Shovel received a lot of support in her bringing this to light, from the community, beyond it, and from other content creators. Wilbur-Soot would drop an I'm not even gonna give this the time of day, it was corporate ass, basically saying that she's kind of valid as fart for feeling her feelings, that he kind of messed up, that it kind of sucks, that he's kind of gonna improve. Needless to say, no one was buying into this, and Wilbur-Soot is cancelled into the ground with no chance of coming back to anything remotely similar to the audience he once had because of his misconduct. On the top, okay, you know what? I don't want to be able to say that I had a smooth transition from misconduct to the last thing that happened in February, so I'm just gonna go to something else. The fake Willy Wonka situation in Glasgow was crazy. There's this one girl, she's dressed up as an Oompa Loompa, she went really viral. Honestly, I wish I could just talk to her about how crazy it is to benefit so much from a single situation. You know, talk to her. Also on the 26th, cue the fanfare! What? In the 73-page legal document, it alleges that Diddy had schmexual relations with a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj, implied to be Meek Mill. It also accuses him of racketeering, basically doing illegal stuff in the interest of profit, and being connected to murders and so many venereal crimes that just listing them all would get my entire channel age restricted. If I was monetized, you wouldn't be seeing any more green. FN. Hey Sebby, what's FN stand for? Oh my god. I'm getting fat and I don't know why. Oh my god. Okay, so this year's already proven to be crazy turbulent, and it'll only keep ramping up from here, so I'm gonna let you decide which segment you want to go to next. Okay, balls or worm? Pull your pants back up. About a week after the fact, it was announced that the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, had passed away at 68 years old. This loss truly struck a chord across not only YouTube, not only the greater internet sphere, but arguably across the whole globe, as Dragon Ball is enjoyed by millions upon millions. If you were to ask one to name an anime, Naruto's big, so's One Piece, Attack on Titan is up there, you'd probably hear them repeat the classic Dragon Ball quote. And you'd respond, "Yes, Vegeta. Final GLOB speed, Mr. Toriyama. GLOB speed." Now, to hop on that worm. Dune Part 2 released on the 1st of this month, and the movie did really well, and you could tell that the internet really fucked with it. But to take a switch to something the internet did not fuck with, Dream and Goggy were accused of sexually assaulting. No! Minecraft YouTubers abuse their power on fans. Good glob, next you're gonna tell me that everybody breathes air. I swear that this is the last time I'll have to talk about YouTubers pulling a YouTuber for a bit, so I'll make it brief. An individual by the name of Katie alleged that she and a group of friends who were under 21 hung out with popular Minecraft YouTubers including George and Dream, and that they were at a convention in which they were forced to drink, and George essayed Katie by touching her without consent. Although there were some who quietly noted that the story seemed a bit off, the entirety of the internet turned on George, and Dream pulled a Dream and tried to shift the attention to him by crying into Twitter space. What a ray of sunshine. However, in addition to George's initial responses which detailed how not only did the group of girls show up drunk, drunk, but showed the image of Katie's wrist on which she donned a 21 plus bracelet. Katie's follow-ups raised more eyebrows by seemingly changing different aspects of the story. At the end of the day, the names of the accused were basically cleared and Katie eventually just left the internet. Given public opinion of them was already low, a lot of people just wanted more reasons to hate these guys because the admiration is moving on to another era of creators. Queso's rise to fame was truly solidified with Meat Candy's animation on the larger-than-life personality releasing on the 17th. Although it may not have been his most popular video on such a big character, it's still absolute numbers, securing millions of views and cementing the man in internet history. But on the topic of internet history, the 26th of March holds 3 major events under its belt, 2 of which would continue to develop into the year, and glob damn it got crazy. But to start off this trifecta, we have the Baltimore Bridge collapse, which occurred very early in the day. It was a truly sad accident that resulted in multiple deaths and had an absurd amount of money in damages that would result. What? 9/11! No! Who would have expected that an internet space that still gets a kick out of Twin Towers jokes would have had a field day with this one? It's all your faults. For the second part of this trifecta, a certain man's saga continues as his house is raided, and it's none other than Diddy! There really wasn't too much internet buzz over this one, but that'll come in later. I heard it has something to do with his, okay, I guess I'm talking about this now. If a certain level of brain rot was not already established in meme culture this year, fucking TikTok Riz Party ensured that this is what 2024 would be remembered for. White shirt kid, blue tie kid, Turkish Quandale Dingle was there too, and with every meme focusing on them came the same clip of Carnival off of Kanye and Ty Dolla $ign's Vulture's album. But on the subject of rap, the 26th marked the beginning of one of, if not the biggest culture event of 2024, all stemming from Kendrick Lamar's feature on Like That by Metro Boomin and Future. The song starts solid enough, but Kendrick's lines really draw you in, and the bar that really set forward the action to follow in the coming months could be found in the most replayed section of all the reaction videos that absolutely popped off.
What the fuck's the big 3? Nigga, it's just big.
Discord. On April Fool's, Discord uploaded a short little video about Discord loot boxes, nothing special, except it broke every record known to man. Seriously though, this broke the record for most views in a day with no chance of beating it. Kidding. Basically, Discord accidentally created the largest view bot in YouTube history, which was eventually fixed so the view count would be something normal, but the impact still stands. Also on the 1st, Smiling Friends dropped its first episode of its 2nd season. Created by Michael Cusack and notably 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃, known online as Psychic Pebbles, it's beloved by the internet, no doubt due to Zach's ties to old school YouTube and Newgrounds, in addition to its crazy pacing. The episode focused on helping Gwimbly get a new game, which looking back on it didn't seem like that much of a problem in the first place. But speaking of the first, well actually I'm going to touch on something that happens a little later this month, because if I were to say what I was just about to say, I'd have to see it to the end. You'll pick up what I have to lay down in just a sec, but until then, I have to mention that the Fallout TV show released on the 10th, and it's a very rare instance of a video game getting a TV/movie adaptation actually being good, especially the live action, which popped off. But speaking of things popping off, brain rot is still getting bigger and bigger. Boy, it's just alcohol, bro visited his friend. The Ian Hawke memes weren't all that brain rot, but given the environment, a good amount of them would take brain rot spins. Luckily, the chipmunks themselves haven't been fucked with. And one of the biggest memes of 2024, what the Sigma. Truthfully, with all the brain rot and irony on top of it, in addition to your average Joe being aware of what a skibbity toilet and a soy jack are, it felt like the underbelly of the internet was going mainstream. But now to double back to something that was objectively mainstream, the Kendrick-Drake beef. I'm gonna be going over the whole timeline, start to finish. Go! The first response dropped from J. Cole on an album titled Might Delete later on the 5th, with a 3.5-minute track called 7-Minute Drill. But wait, if J. Cole is on the beef and dropping a diss track, why'd you only mention Kendrick and Drake? Well, it only took a little bit till J. Cole rolled it back on the 7th. And with that, he's out and people were clowning on him till Kingdom Come. Next response came from Drake, and this is when shit gets real with the drop of push-ups on the 19th. He made fun of Kendrick for being short, for getting some ass contracts, but his fatal mistake was bringing family into the mix by bringing in Kenny's partner, Whitney Alford. Now, I'ma dumb down the unspoken rules of diss situation. Simply, you keep it between yourselves, the artists directly dissing each other, nothing crazy. But when you drag others in, when you drag family in, that's when the shit hits the fan. Literally anything is game, no holds barred. And when Drake poked the bear by telling him to drop and give him 50, the bear took a chunk out of his frontal lobe with the release of Euphoria on the 30th of the month. As we go through the timeline, you'll start to notice that almost each song Kendrick's on with this beef has a bar everyone will quote, and this one might be, well, the second biggest. Hitting him with a double pump, Kendrick drops 616 in LA on the 3rd, continuing his unbridled hatred for Drake by basically saying that his entire crew are fake fans and that they're wishing for his downfall under their breath. Keeping up the volley, Drake drops Family Matters same day with a 7-minute music video, in which he kinda just talks around for the first couple of minutes, raps and stuff, including suggesting that one of Kendrick's kids actually isn't his. Before much of this can be dissected, Kendrick drops again on May the 3rd, sandwiching Drake's track with 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃 in LA with his new song, Meet the Grams. Now, these disses were pretty rough to each other, but Meet the Grams proved that now Kendrick was going for the throat. This is not a banger you'd hear on the radio being bumped on repeat, being put on people's gym playlists. This is an audio experience of Kendrick painting Drake's gut on a wall, preferably the walls of a cell with Weinstein in it. The organization of the track's pretty interesting, with Kendrick addressing different members of the household. Drake's mom, his dad, his son, Adonis, his daughter? Apparently Drake's hiding a daughter from the public. While people were trying to digest all this, Kendrick maintained the onslaught with Not Like Us on the 4th, arguably the most replayable song. When I was saying that Kendrick's I hate line was the second to a more quoted line, this is what I'm talking about.
Trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
And honestly, I'm not even sure if I can talk about Drake's song the following day, because Kendrick basically solidified his dominance already. Drake said that the stuff about fathering a secret daughter was bait planted by his team, but he didn't follow up with any receipts proving that was true. Given my perception of Drake, I wouldn't be surprised if he did plant it and forgot to make sure that he had proof, but then again, my perception of Drake has him floating towards the smell of a pie. Drake's response was buried even further, as on the same day as he dropped the final track of the beef, Metro announced the BBL Drizzy beat contest. Basically, using the beat provided, whoever made the best song out of it would get a cash prize and a free beat. And if Kendrick hadn't already won over the culture, man, there is no question. While the beef basically consumed everybody's attention while it was happening, there were still some pretty notable things, such as Donkey's video game publishing company dropping Animal Well, and, you know, I'm gonna see if the triggers anything in you. Eco-friendly wood veneer. Galvanized square steel. Screws borrowed from your auntie. Well, that popped off. Anyways, young Sheldon died.
Here, and I just wanted to say that when I'm out there doing my thing, killing kids is probably my least favorite part of the job.
And with his death, young Sheldon clips blew up, particularly one of Sheldon's dad having fucking aura. And with that, another mainstay brain rot term is born. Okay. Finally, a month on the lighter side, just a few things to cover before we ramp things up again with the next month. First off is the release of Chained Together on the 19th of the month. Everyone was playing it with their pals. It's like a co-op only up. Mayhaps for the language options, you can choose from English or Spanish. Oh my god. Well, it was close to being late until a YouTuber pulled a YouTuber. Sometime back, the doc got banned off Twitch, and the public wasn't in the know until the 21st of June, where it was revealed that Dr. Disrespect had been messaging a minor on the now defunct Twitch Whispers feature. The doc made a response saying that there were in fact some messages with a minor, and then he tried to go back and edit some of the language used, but he was already fucked from the start. He's basically lost all his respect, his notoriety, his platform, and at the time of writing this, he's moved to Rumble? To get back to the lighter news, gaming! Fortnite Reload released to the public the day after the doc drama came to light, and the trailer really amped things up. Get it? It's like a joke. It's like a joke. Ooh, Carson, I risk one. I know you want to drop Greasy Girl Phantom, but you better not tax my mats. Haha. Like Phantom, Phantom, what are you doing? Phantom, put the baby down. You can't Phantom tax a baby. Phantom! Oh my god, dude. Why was it my first instinct to tell him to spit out that thing? Plague, I tell you! Nonchalant Dreadhead, Gat for Gat, let's go gambling. I really wanted to gloss over it, but Brother EO has been gone mainstream on mainstream, and now Hawk Tour emerges and is almost the biggest meme of the year. And although personal opinion on these things vary, it cannot be denied that a lot of it's a flavor of brain rot, and it cannot be denied that Hawk Tour only became funny months later through irony, cause seeing celebrities hop on this shit isn't tight no matter how much they want you to think it. Hell, even when AI interruptions and Jigsaw memes popped up this month, a lot of the variations would have some sort of brain rot kick to it, and although brain rot seemed pretty funny, and it can still get me from time to time, seeing it 24/7 and impacting memes as they blow up, I don't know, brother, just doesn't feel good. But speaking of brothers, Sketch, another of the new wave of creators popping up this year, along with Queso, Jinxie, and Poindexter.
Take it home with you.
I wasn't very aware of Sketch and the space he inhabited until the 7th of July, on which Sketch was outed for previously having a gay OnlyFans. This already isn't that bad, especially when you compare to the previously exposed YouTubers, and especially compared to YouTubers that will be mentioned in the future. However, people still got on his case for it, and in his stream addressing it all, he alluded to the fact that if his friends weren't there for him in that moment, that he wouldn't be around. But during the said stream, he kinda came to terms with the info being out, and you know what? I get why
I
he's
did
so
not
popular.
have sexual relations with that man.
This section would have been very easy to transition to 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃, but something crazy happened the day before 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃 was exposed. Trump got nearly assassinated. This occurred at a rally on the 13th, and the whole world was abuzz, especially given one certain photo from the event, and you already know it'll be used in the history book on 2024. But to swing back to it, on the 14th, D'Angelo Wallace dropped a video exposing 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃 for doing the deed with a minor. And what did Cody have to say about it? Literally nothing, he just did some DJing, partying with a million beers. To repeat what I did not too long ago, I'm going to skip ahead to touch on something in the interest of keeping the following point in order, cause good glob, it's meaty. On the 23rd of the month, Jaden Animations released a video detailing how she's been animating on the internet for 10 years now, and how one day she wants to completely step back and lead a normal life. What a wholesome woman. Strap in because we are covering one of the biggest series of controversies right here, right now. Keep your limbs closer and children closer. Here we go! On the 18th, 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃's behavior was brought to light, a lot of which was just sitting on their public Twitter account, and more started to be brought forth after the tweets became common knowledge. Honestly, at this point of organizing the video, the clip from Omni still explains it best.
Every single day, there's always a news article or a news headline when it comes about somebody potentially talking to kids. Something with... I hate it!
Ava was pulled to everything involving minors like metal is pulled to a magnet, because not only did she abuse her power to talk inappropriately with minors in a private MrBeast Discord server, but she also had a bunch of tweets regarding and even a piece of art from Shadman. She tried to take steps further and even meet with a certain minor in person. As to who Shadman is, I'll just say that he would have been good friends with a certain guy we talked about near the beginning of the video, and another guy that we have yet to fully delve into. And most of the shit wasn't even under the covers, like the drawing Ava has from Shad was shown in a MrBeast video. This is absolutely absurd, and although a good amount was solely focused on this being an individual being horrid, some chose to focus on 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃 being trans. And you know what? I'm gonna say it. I do not give a fuck. I'm not going to focus on 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃 being trans, just as I haven't been focusing on all these YouTubers that have been brought into question being white. I'm not going to be like, oh, well, the usual suspects. It's always the meatloaf munchers. Soon after all the info became common knowledge, MrBeast announced that he was focusing on hiring an independent party to investigate. But enough's come to light for him to remove everything 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃 from MrBeast. While a lot of people praised Jimmy for being so quick with this, others were curious as to how all of this could happen under Jimmy's notes for so long. This uncertainty would be the rebound to Dogpack slam dunk as he pressed MrBeast harder against the grill. In a video released in the same day as Jimmy addressing 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃, a former employee of MrBeast going by Dogpack404 dropped a video sitting at a modest 15.5 million views at the time of recording this, titled, "I work for MrBeast. He is a fraud." In this, he alleges almost everything under the sun, but Dogpack wasn't just screaming out into the void. He organized things well and had a lot of background information to support his points, which garnered him the attention to continue forth into the next month with another video turning up the heat. Premiering on the 7th of August, Dogpack's second video takes a far more human approach as it focuses on the working environment behind MrBeast. Describing MrBeast as a sociopath, the video centers around an interview with a former MrBeast employee, and what's said is borderline dystopian. This served to enforce the degradation of the public opinion of the YouTube juggernaut, as many YouTubers would begin to distance themselves if they weren't already actively contributing to discourse against Jimmy. The scenario was pretty cut and dry at the time, but later in the year it would prove to become a confusing mess. And on the topic of confusion, the next game that you'd see all your favorite YouTubers play dropped on the 1st of the month. Thank Goodness You're Here takes place in the United Kingdom, directly resulting in a mature rating. You basically control a little Grimbley and go around the town doing just about everything. The game serves as a sort of flarped up human zoo, invoking gratitude into the hearts of many players as they directly experience how much worse their life could be. But speaking of flarping, everybody's freaky now. Freak Bob, Mr. Miyagi glazing, and although Brazilian Miku wasn't supposed to be freaky, she'd usually end up still being freaky. No one was safe. Viral clips of people touching each other or ripping each other's clothes off were everywhere, which might have actually kickstarted by JD Vance apparently getting down on a couch? It wasn't all freaky, because I guess we were doing circles now pops off and literally everybody was making their own version of the meme. Olympics also happened this month, but people were almost exclusively focusing on how tough the sharpshooting people look and how ass Australia's breakdancing was.
I'm in the thick of it, everybody knows. They know me where it snows, I skate in and they froze.
On the 4th of September, something that's been talked about for years and years finally released a trailer, that being the Minecraft movie. Although the trailer has a shit ton of likes, there's also a pretty notable amount of criticism. Nowhere near the Sonic movie, but it's still pretty rough. And while one could argue that this is mainly coming from people who wanted a Minecraft movie since they were kids, and upset that they're no longer the target audience, the movie itself is also shaping up to be pretty corny. Be there and be square, a he's right behind me moment, and the next teaser it opens with children yearn for the mines joke. visually stunning, but if they say maybe the real Minecraft was the friends we made along the way, I'ma go triple cheeseburgers. Speaking of blowing up, the chill guy popped off again this month, but unfortunately people weren't very chill about it, and the creator announced that he'd be copywriting the character so he could put a stop to it being used in crypto. Also, speaking of blowing up, it's that year again. Okay, yeah, well, I was mainly talking about another Mr. Beast controversy. It was announced on the 16th that through a collaboration with Mr. Beast, Logan Paul, and KSI, a new Lunchables-esque product would be hitting the shelves before the year was over. A Feastables bar, a small prime, and the entire internet on their asses. 3 dudes, all with shoddy records, especially given how this was the month after the latest Dogpack video had really struck a chord. Dan TDM spoke about it as such in a tweet saying, "What happened to YouTubers, man? I can't not say anything anymore. This is selling stuff for the sake of making money. Simple. How does this benefit their fans? This is selling crap to kids who don't know better than to trust the people who are selling it to them. Do better." And other content creators echoed their distaste, with Tommy Innit dropping the Vapely sketch on the following month on the 8th. Their biggest claim to fame is that it's healthier than the competition, but man, I fucking identify as skinny, but eating a Lunchly is not going to help me trim any fat. It's still junk. This shared the spotlight with another event the following day on the 17th, that being the disclosing of a lot of the details from the raids on Diddy's mansions earlier in the year. There's some crazy stuff that was revealed that Diddy was in possession of, but say it with me now, 1,000 bottles of baby oil. With this, Freakmas was basically every day for the rest of the year. Good glob, everything was freaky, and not only were there witch chipmonkeys getting the best head memes coming back, but they were getting their backs blown out of the floor by Diddy. Like, hello, do only the people at the top get this treatment?
We bring the boom!
On the subject of people at the top experiencing far better lives, Eve Bo's parkour civilization went absolutely viral at the start of this month, despite coming out the previous year. The opener of the video, the 1-block jump versus the 1-block vertical jump, was referenced all over the place. And honestly, the full video is actually pretty good, but to the disappointment of millions, there were 2 notable releases this month that really weren't good. The first being Joker 2 on the 4th. The first movie was an absolute masterclass, with Deadpool and Wolverine overthrowing it this year as the new highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. However, the long-awaited sequel would disappoint fans immensely as the switch to being part musical really didn't suit it at all, in addition to a lot of other flaws. And the second disappointment, there you go. Instantly to the brain rot cage with you. Flip. Might as well throw Typhlosion and some other Pokemon into a cage too, cause some leaks gave some crazy backstory, like backstory that might get me in more trouble than how I'm going about the Diddy stuff crazy. Luckily there was something at the end of the month to bring people back to sanity, that being the drop of Chromocopia on the 28th. And this is my first year actually paying attention to the rap and hip hop scene, and it already can't get better than this. For the final event of October, the Costco guys went on Jimmy Fallon, which is crazy to say, almost as crazy as the fact that the Rizzler apparently isn't AJ's son but just a kid they're chill with? Whack. On the 2nd of the month, Fortnite released Chapter 2 OG by Ice Spice, because while Season OG went back to basics, this season collabed with a bunch of rappers, and good glob, why is he there? For those upset by the lack of a pure OG experience with the event, Fortnite would announce on the 12th that Fortnite OG, and I mean OG, would be coming back as a game mode on the 6th of December. The day before the 12th, Overwatch Classic was announced, another event centered around the nostalgia of the good old days. Honestly, I'm surprised that they decided it'd be limited, as ever since Season OG last November, these nostalgia pandering events have proven just how profitable they can be. To keep the ball rolling on gaming stuff before doubling back, the second season of Arcane released this month, starting with the first wave on the 9th, and it's really good. Like, parents are losing their children to the League of Legends pipeline good. But on the subject of bangers, notable podcast Chuckle Sandwich had some news to share, that being the announcement of its upcoming end. The podcast was notable for not only going on for a few years, but having some pretty big named hosts, including Jay Schlatt, Ted Nivison, Tucker, and Charlie Slimesicle. However, this time they were also notable for posting the announcement while tensions were high on the 5th, one day before the election results in the US. Now, I know you guys are all clamoring. Rude, but anyways, dude! But hey, if you were disappointed with the announcement of the podcast ending and the new president, Jay Schlatt uploaded a little video on the 7th talking about how the Christmas album he kept making passing references to would be releasing soon. On the subject of dropping albums, Kendrick Lamar shadow dropped his new album, GNX, on the 22nd to praise from fans. To rewind one more time, the Jake Paul vs. Mike Tyson fight. I honestly forgot all about this till the day of, but good glob, the stadium was packed and everyone was watching it because Netflix's servers weren't able to handle it well. As for the fights themselves, I heard that the fight between the two women was pretty good, and there's that one where Nudes railed Gyat. But as for Jake Paul v Mike Tyson, to the disappointment of millions, it was a decisive Paul victory. Getting a big name like Tyson versus a figure people want to see vaporized like Jake Paul is a recipe for viewership, but people still weren't happy with Jake beating up an old man. And you know what? I agree. And although Jake's justification for picking Micah is pretty simple, one thing that will become a lot more confusing is the Mr. Beast situation. Also on the 22nd, 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓲 released an uncut interview with Jimmy where he answers a multitude of questions we've all been wondering, in addition to doing his best to debunk everything Dogpack said. This, in addition to the soggy cereal video on the 15th debunking everything conveyed in Dogpacks, resulted in the situation becoming a lot more nuanced than people may have been ready for. There's a lot of layers to this, like people thinking that Jimmy Donaldson and Mr. Beast are the same and not a man and a character. And a lot more people hating on Jimmy because they hate how he's impacted YouTube than they'd like to admit. On the other hand, a lot of people may be discounting Dogpack because they can't bear to think that their favorite content creator would do something wrong, and they don't want to see his content scale back or end. To change to something a little more lighthearted, the Chipmunks were still absolutely getting it. Love to see it. I was a bit worried that the meme would taper off, but it's proven that it can withstand the test of time. But there's another resurgence that happened this year, and while it may not be a resurgence to many, it's a resurgence for me. Knee surgery memes. Many may have been taken aback when the blue Grinch stares at them, but I stare back at a familiar face because I've been there since day one, man! Same with Gooning, I was there way before anyone else, and it just goes to show, 1, how much of the older, smaller parts of the internet are coming to light, and 2, no matter how they come... Whoa. Okay. What's going on with me? 2, no matter the context, it'll become brain rot. I never thought I'd see a reel about a family of chuds going around. This thing is like burned into my mind. I can't forget about it when I die, and if the thing about seeing parts of your life flash before you is true, and if I see that thing, then I'm glorifying myself. I'm not giving the world the satisfaction of me having to lay there, reminded of that for 4 more milliseconds till I'm out. Get me out of there now! Chris Chan's pregnant. Okay, no, they're not.
Why so jolly?
Another album ushered in the month, and this time it wasn't a rap album. 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓲 dropped the full Christmas album, and although it didn't have the shock pushing forward his Frank Sinatra cover the year previous, no one can deny that it's absolutely stunning. Amazing covers of music from all our favorite Italians. While we talked about a failed assassination earlier in the video, this attempt succeeded with the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson, an action that truly spurred the American populace into a political frenzy. As discourse around the assassination, the insurance business, and the man behind it, Luigi Mangione, dominated the country and is still a notable topic to this day. It's a divisive matter, with the division mainly seen in difference of classes, and young people being more likely to rally behind Luigi, with old heads building resentment towards him. But next in December, OG Fortnite released, and this time it's here to stay. They plan on going through each season of Chapter 1 with a couple months for each, and while some people may find the scaled-back nature of Season 1 boring, I personally had a lot of fun with it. Now the topic of fun, the Game Awards! The celebration of all things gaming. I mean, I personally didn't catch the Game Awards live this time. Last time I did, there was this one guy in the chat named Doug who kept donating money to try and get Jeff to touch him. OG YouTuber 𝓒𝓪𝓃𝓲𝓮 is back. He's been kinda all over the place for a while now, working on his own personal projects, and while he's back for the time being, I think we've accepted that there's a good enough chance he'll keep this whack schedule, but hey, we'll still keep our big fat smiles while we've got him. And that's it! The last year of YouTube and notable things that have impacted it have been covered. Thanks for watching. This production has been absolutely
Stop treating me like trash! It's all their faults! It's your faults! It's your faults!
It's all your fault. A man, blinded by fame and online hatred's downfall, was put out continuously for the world to see. His appetite for growth and food continued to grow until it became evident that it would consume him, and that his demise was videos away. But that's what he wanted us to think. On the 6th of September, 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓲 released a video detailing how he had planned this years ago, and how he had created a massive backlog of content to release while he was losing weight. Despite evidence of him mentioning how he wanted to cut back when he turned 30 from across the years, he'd sold his supposed physical and mental downfall so well that the entire internet shared their shock. In an era where individuals are well documented in their deterioration, especially due to audience influences, 𝓒𝓻𝓪𝓃𝓲 proved that he wasn't like them at all, that despite all preconceived notions, he was always
2 steps ahead. This has been the greatest social experiment of my entire life.